I mean, I think that's why Matilda stands out for me, because there's no real child at the center of that book. There's just the desire and the capacity, the ability to read.
What's nuts about Roald Dahl, unfortunately, he was anti-Semitic, and it's ghastly. You know, it's just ghastly. It breaks my heart. I can't believe it, because in so many other ways, he was like, he always rooted for the children in his books. Like, he was aligned with the disempowered.
Have you ever read the short stories?
Yes, they're so good. Yeah.
So I was just reading this kind of bizarre one called, you might remember this one. It's called Bitch, and it was published in Playboy in 1974. And it came out sort of in the middle, I think, of the Watergate hearings.
Right.
So summer 1974. And the sort of plot of the story is that it's one of those Uncle Osborne stories. Do you remember that kind of debonair Don Juan figure, Uncle Osborne, that he had? So Uncle Osborne has a friend who invents a kind of perfume, a pheromone so concentrated that any man who smells it immediately rapes the first woman that they could find.
Wow. Okay.
And the plot of this story is that Uncle Osborne will plant it on the woman who is the head of the Daughters of the American Revolution, the DAR, who is meeting with the president on television that night. And he will plant it on her, and the pheromone will release, and the president will rape her on TV.
Oh, my God.
And he says they can't help but impeach him after he does that. And of course, this all goes completely awry in various ways. And at the end of it, Uncle Osborne ends up being the one who smells it. And the short story ends with him just turning into a 7-foot penis.
Oh, my gosh.
And you read it. Okay, so I'm getting back to the children's thing. You read it and you think, oh, my God, if I look back then over everything that Dahl has written, even the children's books are filled with these fantasies of bigness.
Yeah.
So even those fantasies of bigness, when he does seem to be kind of rooting for the disempowered, rooting for the weak, rooting for the small, it's hard for that to escape the kind of penumbra of that very kind of masculinist, if only I were big enough, if only I were a 7-foot cock.
I think that's really true. I mean, I don't think that's true, but I think that energy is in his books for sure. Here's